My name is JesmondCutajar and my student number is 4446496506, and we're in our Fennell Bay lunchroom conducting this meeting. Again, this is our second meeting now, evidence of the subject matter, which is managed meetings, BSBADM502B. Again, I've got Rochelle on my left and Sarah on my right. You've previously given me your permission. That's agreed, isn't it, that you're being videotaped for this? That way we're meeting our ethical and requirements and legal requirements. So you both agree to that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much for that. And thank you again for your prompt response again from the invitations I sent out for this meeting. So this is basically the follow-up from last week's meeting. We're into our contract. We've started with Fennell Bay General Store. And if I just run through our minutes from last week, and again, you both agreed that from the minutes from last week that there was no mistakes in it and all being accounted for. Just to quickly run through them, that was Fennell Bay General Store. There's certain particular hours that we discussed that the management asked our people to go in. They didn't want them outside those working hours, so we already started with that. Our second point was that Mark and Oliver were to start the job, and they required a testing box for the test and tagging. We agreed, we pushed motion and agreed to spend $4,000 on a new test box. That's now been purchased and been given to the guys to work with. The other point was that we were going to agree to meet here every week while this contract is on. We agreed at the same time in the lunchroom at 4 o'clock. And so what was it? Still agreed by all parties, that one? And also, Rochelle, you were looking into the work method statements, insurances and OHS documents, and we'll deal with that a little bit later on in our last part of this meeting. So that was one other thing that was entered into the documents there. Okay, so for this week's meeting now, is we're looking at, so we've looked at from our last week's minutes meeting. Now, Sarah, you agree again to take the minutes for this meeting?
Yep.
You're taking that. So thank you again for that. Now, what resources and equipments do we have on hand for this next week? Is there any changes that we need to make notes on and we need to look at?
Yeah, we do have one.
So what's that? So is Mark and Oliver still right?
Yeah, no. Mark's actually on holiday, so he's going to be replaced by John to assist Oliver. Now we've purchased the test box, but we need to purchase the test meter because our Oliver broke. So yeah,
right.
So that's urgent that we get that. And that's at the cost of $700, sorry.
Okay, so so we'll put a motion forward to spend the $700 then, because so who wants to put that motion forward?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, so Rochelle, you're taking the notes down that Rochelle's motioned that, so who wants to second that? So you will second that, Sarah? Good. Okay, so we'll get that bought for him. So, alright, so that's in place now. Our next point there is possible goals for our next meeting. That was in the agenda there for this week. Again, we got any problems maintaining this weekly meeting? Is that still a goal that we're looking at for next week?
Yeah, that's
okay.
Good.
So we put it down into our minutes that when I send the invitations through for next week, we'll put down the same time. Okay, well, thank you for that again. Now, for other pre-meeting notes, and this was we slightly touched on from last week, this was to do with our documents of our work method statements, insurances and OHS. So we started the job, so you said that they were all in place now?
Yeah, all documents are current and in place, so they've got copies of those. Good,
so all our JSA is in place and they know they're working according to our work method statements and everything?
Yeah.
So that's all in place, good. Anything else there we need to make notes about or we need to be aware of or need to bring up for next week? Was there anything else?
No, that's pretty right for this week.
All right. Well, thank you again for that meeting. We'll make an appointment for next week. Again, I've got our meeting attendance sheet here. If I get you to sign off on this, and then we can put this in our control documents that we've attended the other meeting. And I thank you for that. So, Rochelle. Sarah. Well, thank you again. We'll see you next week.